Is today's show?
We're live. Let me do this. Viewers, Vader Games TV special episode, the panel show of Why Always Me. If you're tuning in on Twitch, if you're tuning in on YouTube, thank you for the support. Let me make sure all my levels are good before I get into it. Everything is looking everything is looking nice. All right. First things first, my peoples come first. Hit that follow button, hit that subscribe button. You know the drill. Every little bit counts. Growing the channel one by one friend at a time, and we're building. We're building on this. All right. It is a panel show, and before I introduce everybody, I know you see them on the screen, but before I introduce everybody, look at the topics that we're getting into. Look at what we're covering. Champions League. Champions League, everyone says that this is the most prestigious competition, and we're going to talk about it tonight. Special guests, two individuals that you've met on previous shows. I'm going to start with the first one. The man, you see that profile pic right there. He represents Everton. Hardcore, knowledgeable football man. Not only is he nice at football in real life, but the man's nice on the console. He's nice on the console. I met him in the IEGA, fantastic esports league. Man did his thing, repping Lazio. Won. He actually won it. Battled with me in the finals. We won't talk about that. That's another show. But he did his thing. Prince, how you doing, my guy?
Happy to be in the Prem for next year.
The man is happy. Everton fan. It was a little shaky for a second, but the man remained in the EPL. I think he's one of the few that's able to brag about never not being relegated. So props to him. Next up, Manchester United fan, Tyribbs, another individual that I met in the IEGA. The man is limitless with the trash talk. Limitless. No shame, but it's part of his game. It's what makes him unique. And he's here tonight to talk about his team. Tyribbs, how are you doing, my guy?
Uh, there's been a lot going on. All right, not a lot of positive stuff going on with Man U, but definitely been busy.
Man's been busy, and you know what? He's being modest because there's a lot of things happening this year. Eric Ten Hag is in the mix. Supposedly, there's a new vision with regards to scouting. Things are looking up. Things are looking up, and we'll be talking about that on future shows and maybe a little bit tonight.
Club
And
debt just passed 500 million, but yeah, we're fine. We're fine. Everything's fine.
club debt just passed what?
500 million.
Oh, you know what? He's gonna put me off on a tangent, but I'm a resist. I'm a resist. Never last, never least. I am so happy and honored to be able to get this man on the panel tonight for many reasons. One, he's family. Two, we've been in the trenches. We've battled Black Irish FC. We've played on the same pitch. We've poured blood, sweat, and tears doing our best within the league. And I know how this man's put his body on the line. If you know a man that's had knee surgery, knee injuries, and still battle through it, that's how you know the bravery and the courage that this man has. He's repping Liverpool on the show for the first time, doing his debut. I'm absolutely sure he's going to rep well. We got DC in the building. How you doing, man?
Yep, doing well, man. Wearing my scarf and ready for the weekend.
All right. A big weekend, and we're going to get right into it. Again, viewers, if you're tuning in for the first time, please hit that follow button, subscribe, comment, let me know the feedback. If you think that these guests need to come with more energy, if you think that these guests need to not be so nice and actually go for the jugular with some of the comments, let them know. All right. but we're going to get into it because we've got a very extensive list. And last time, I'll be real with you, the panel show was only supposed to be an hour. We were just supposed to like talk about football, talk about the topics, and breeze through it. What ends up happening? What ends up happening when you put Tyribbs, Prince, and last week was Rob and myself all on a panel? We go for 2 hours. I'm hoping that we keep things under wraps this week. So let's get right into it. On Twitch, if you're tuned in, again, subscribe, hit that follow button. I'm going to run the intro on Twitch. I don't want you guys to miss out on it. And let me tell you, it is going to be a show. Let's run it. Why Always Me, episode 27, I believe. I think that's right. No, episode 28. Oh, we're cooking. Episode 28, Why Always Me, Beta Games TV. We're going to be talking Champions League. If you saw by the thumbnail had the image of Champions League, Europa Conference. We're going to touch on all of those, but we're definitely going to go in depth with regards to the Champions League. And I'm going to throw this first topic. I'm going to throw this to Prince. The UCL is obviously the holy grail. Europa is, if you're not able to compete for the UCL, you're now doing Europa. And then newly introduced this year, in an effort to again have teams compete in Europe for a title, you have the Europa Conference League. What do you say about all three trophies? Like, where do you put the importance of these trophies for clubs of all sizes?
Yeah, I mean, it's a trophy. I mean, isn't that the success of a club overall is valued on how many trophies and titles they've won? I mean, it doesn't matter what level. No one holds the Painters Trophy over the Championship, League One, not League One, the Championship. First division, second division teams in England. That's a title. I mean, and realistically, before the Conference League, some of these teams would have never played Europe ever.
Yeah.
So why not?
So it is a trophy. It is a chance to play in Europe. Does it matter? Where your club? Does it matter where your club has been in terms of its heights to where
Stature.
it's now? Yeah, stature to where it's competing now. If there are different levels to the trophies.
Yes, but at the end of the day, if you ask, even if you ask an Arsenal, if you ask a Chelsea, a Tottenham, the what we said, the 1B from last week tier of Prem teams, if they would take a Europa title, they would say yes. They're not gonna say no just because it's Europa and feel bad that they won Europa and not Champions League. It's a title,
Okay. I'm gonna throw this to DC. And DC is a Liverpool fan, so this is why I want to get his perspective. Your club has amazing history with regards to the Champions League. If your club were to fall from grace, would you, as a fan, and would you think that your fan base would accept Europa or Europa Conference League as, again, a trophy to promote and be proud for?
Well, I think I'm going to say yes again because we talk. I mean, he just said it. A trophy is a trophy, and more so, I believe that a trophy yields confidence. So if you had fallen from grace, I mean, each time you win something, you believe more in your abilities to accomplish more. So I think a trophy, even if it was a Europa League trophy, still points you in the right direction. And I guess sends you up the ladder again, or at least makes you believe that you can climb that ladder again.
Okay. I like that. Let me layer on a follow-up question. If you happen to actually no, let me yeah. Here we go. Let's say you are originally playing in Champions League, but you get knocked out of the group stage. So because you get knocked out of the group stage, you now compete in Europa, correct? If you're playing and now competing for Europa, but had been obviously a qualifier for Champions League, how was the perception of that trophy then, or that accomplishment then? Is it tarnished at all?
Uh, I'm not okay. So I'll say I'm not sure if it's necessarily tarnished, but I mean we talk about it a lot, and you see it. I mean, as we said, Liverpool was going for the quad, and to win something like that is very difficult because the number of games that you play is outrageous. So if you want to win at that top level, yeah, you're using your guys, but if you had got kicked out, I believe, if you get kicked out of the Champions League and now you're working on the Europa, I'm going to say you start putting more emphasis on maybe the English Premier League championship. So maybe the lineups that you use may not be the same as the lineups that you would use in the Champions League final, possibly.
Okay.
Because you're I guess your emphasis shifts a little bit.
Gotcha. I hear that. Tyribbs is the only one here with the trouble. And I say the trouble because there's different troubles.
Mine's coming this weekend.
A trouble is coming to you this weekend. I hear you, DC. But Tyribbs, you have the trouble, right? FA Cup, Premier League, Champions League. Does a club have the right to claim the trouble if it's their version of FA Cup, their version of league title, and Europa or Europa Conference League?
I mean, I just don't. I mean, it is a trophy. He still won 3 trophies regardless.
Yes.
It's not the most prestigious though. Like it's like you can make the same argument in the Prem. Like if someone wins the Carabao, a Community Shield, and the Europa or Conference League, like is that really an impressive treble?
Okay.
Man U would take any trophy they could get right now.
We would take participation trophies at this point. It just doesn't make it any more impressive, though.
So if I hear you, there is a hierarchy. If we were, and we won't do this now. You know what? Why not? Why not? Let's do it now.
Uh-oh. Okay.
If we were to put, imagine we had all the trophies, right? Carabao Cup, FA Cup, Community Shield, EPL, Champions League, Europa Conference. If we are able to, and we're having EPL perspective, right? If we're putting all those trophies on the table, and we were going to rank them in terms of importance, which ones carry more weight? And I'm going to ask you all individually, starting with you, Prince, which is the most valued trophy for you, Everton fan?
It's not a trophy. It's a status. Being in the Prem is pretty valuable. It's we celebrated like we won something. Yeah, we won the right to stay in the Prem and not end the, I believe it was like 65-year streak of never being relegated. So no, but in all seriousness, I think the Prem is people are gonna hate me, but I just feel like the Prem is like, I don't know who put it into perspective. It's a slog. It's a 38 game grind through, a whole 8-month, 9-month period or whatever it is, where you have to contend with injuries. You have to contend with, some of these European teams like have like 3 games in like 5 days. Like you have to contend with, and especially on this back end of the season, I know like Everton had a few makeup games. Burnley had a bunch of games in a row because they had COVID issues earlier in the season. But I just think it's more impressive if you can if you can grind through 38 games. Granted, are you playing the top quality? No, but at this point in the Prem, I feel as if, apart from maybe like Norwich and Watford, any team can beat any team on their day. It's not like the old days where, what was it? I think I saw that Liverpool has finished over 95 points 3 times or something like that, and it only has 1 title. And Fergie did it 9 times, never made it over 91 points or something like that, and has like 9 titles, showing that like I don't know. I just feel like it's I don't
No,
know. It's just more impressive to me.
I hear that. I hear that. I'm gonna throw this to you, Tyribbs. Again, the man that's won the trouble. Which trophy has the highest importance?
Did you include European or just domestic ones?
I said all
European.
domestic trophies,
Just
including
domestic.
Champions League,
Yeah,
Europa Conference. Yeah.
I
No
think
wrong answer.
Prince is right about how like it's a long season that you just gotta perform week in, week out, and like I think the point he was trying to make was Liverpool performed really well this season, but at the end of the day, they don't win the league because they lost games that they shouldn't have lost. I think there was I looked it up the other day, and I literally couldn't believe who one of their losses to who were, but because you could win the Prem by losing or dropping points against Big 16, but you lose it by dropping points against teams that you shouldn't, like in the relegation zone or in the bottom half of the table.
Yeah, you shout out to
Like
Chelsea,
you have,
shout out to Man U. I'm just saying, thank you for the 6
yeah,
points.
exactly. Like Chelsea, that's why Chelsea couldn't compete. They dropped points against teams they shouldn't have. And
Hey,
in the league, you can't have those bad games. Like you could play you could play absolutely awful against the Big Six teams and still compete. Like that's only like a small portion of your points that you can get throughout the season.
Okay.
But in Champions League, you do need to show out every game, or else you could be going home.
Okay. Sorry. You're gonna say something?
No, I'll wait for you to ask me the question.
Okay, because if I'm hearing correctly, the EPL is a grind. The EPL, 38 games, home and away. That's a grind.
Yes.
We got Champions League that is quote unquote the top 4 best finishing teams of the previous year. We've got Europa, which is a combination of teams that were 5th and 6th from the previous year, as well as teams that fell out of the group stage. And then we have Europa Conference, that is the 7th place team from leagues, and teams that fell out of
Europa.
Europa.
Yeah.
So
I actually,
go
I
ahead.
think I want to add something. So basically, how you were saying that the Prem is a grind, I think the biggest comparison is the Prem is a grind, but the Champions League is where players' greatness comes into play.
It's
Like
more,
that's where
yeah,
where big name players have big games.
yeah. I think the way I would
Agreed.
sum it up is it's more impressive if you win the Prem. However, it's more prestigious if you win the Champions League.
Okay,
Yes.
go ahead, DC.
No, I was gonna say it looks like it's crazy, but it looks like we're all in some sort of agreement because I definitely think the prestige is there with the Champions League, but again, in group stages, you can lose a game in group stage and it's nothing because you win the next couple of games and you're still going to qualify, right? Whereas, I'm not going to lie, that there are times like 2 months ago, I'm at my girlfriend's house and I'm like, no, I can't talk. I got to watch this game. It's really important. And she's like, every game in the EPL is important. I'm like, yes, actually, yes, it is. Every single game you play, like, you go back how long ago and the tie you have against Crystal Palace or something, that's the one that cost us the league. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So every single game is important, and therefore I have to give the difficulty to the EPL.
I think, I agree with you in terms of like the importance of the matches throughout the year. And I already know. I already know in the comments. I already know future views. What else is Vader going to say? He's the Manchester City fan. His club's never won the Champions League. Why would he put an importance on the Champions League versus the EPL? Yada, yada, yada. I hear it. But if I'm stepping back, and even before these guys gave their answers, viewers, I was just breaking down the flow of the tournament, right? You fall out of, or you place worse within your domestic league, you enter into the Europa Conference. You are slightly higher than that, you enter into Europa. Your top four within your domestic league, you're entered into Champions League. And then losers of out of the group stage fall into Europa. So I think it's clear. Let's all understand. Europa Conference is the least of the European competitions. It is difficult to win amongst the competition that you're with because obviously, if you're at that level, that's the strength of your team. That's where you're competing at. So obviously, you're competing amongst your peers. But there's going to be a clear difference between your peers at Europa Conference to your peers at Europa, and there's going to be a difference between Europa and Champions League. Just last year, Roma and Manchester United were battling out in the semifinals of the Europa League, and Man U advanced on to play Villarreal in the final. So that's Europa, and Roma now with Mourinho won Europa Conference, which we all have established is slightly lower than that. So Roma in the semifinals of last year's Europa won this year's Europa Conference. Like, what are we doing here? I thought there was a little too much praise and glorification of Jose Mourinho and his accomplishments at Roma. Yes, they won the title. I'm giving up. I respect it, but let's have some perspective here. Let's keep things balanced. The team
Well,
was
there's a
semifinalist in the Europa last year to become Europa Conference champions this year. Like, come on. Sorry, Tyribbs, you were saying?
no. I
Damn,
think
shots
it's
fired.
I think it also comes into play the fact that there are the storylines with Roma, like mainly like Mourinho, but also Tammy Abraham. Just got cast out of England basically and went to Roma and started killing it this year. Had a great season, and he actually got them a European Cup. Like I think it's
Ainsley
one of those
Maitland-Niles.
The
like that, and
storylines are,
then
yeah,
along with Mourinho too, like Mourinho, like he's done very impressive things in European
Finished
competitions.
in
this is not
domestic
one of them though.
competition as well.
Yeah,
Finishing second with Man U was pretty impressive.
yeah, the Lord's work. But
um, okay.
also the thing with Man City about kind of what you mentioned before, I think that the issue is that, like we said, the Prem is more of a grind. But for City, is it really as much of a grind with their depth,
Yeah.
and as opposed to teams that aren't as deep as them with such skilled players? And I think it's also the fact that they have such great players that just haven't like dominated when they got in the Champions League.
What?
No, there. Okay.
Wait, wait,
There's a
wait,
couple.
wait,
There's a
wait.
couple things you're saying there.
Yeah, dissect it. Cook 'em.
So let
All
me
right.
break this down. Let me break this
So
down.
first, I was
Okay,
saying
do that
that.
again.
Look, so first,
Yeah,
the fact
rewind
that
that.
City has such like extreme depth in like their team that the Prem really it's not as much of a grind as it is for other teams because their secondary team is still better than most Prem teams.
Okay, but hold, let me just I just want to understand you correctly, and I'm doing my best to keep this show on pace, but I know it's
Nope.
not going to happen.
Mhm.
All right. So are you saying compared to the other 19 teams in the league, or compared to maybe the top 6, top 7 teams?
I mean, Everton has Rondon coming off the bench. I don't think that qualifies.
Okay, let's exclude Everton.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
but are you trying to say that that Manchester City's depth and the grind that it has in the league, or the grind that it has in the EPL, is different from shared guest DC for Liverpool, Manchester United, your team, Chelsea?
Yeah, like I don't see any other
No.
team in the Prem being that deep on their in their
Chelsea.
reserves.
Chelsea.
Chelsea's
Chelsea's
just as
a
deep.
Chelsea has
Chelsea.
so many reserves that they have to loan out any decent young player because they're not going to play. That's how deep their team is.
Is
That
Foden even
promising
starting for
young
Yeah.
City still
players.
or no?
Conor Gallagher got sent away on loan. Think about that.
And he's a
Yeah,
baller.
okay. He is. He
Think
is a
about
baller.
that.
I agree. I mean,
City
like,
just
I
has
think
an absurd amount of reserves though.
I agree. I
Sorry,
mean,
dude.
Liverpool's got depth too. I mean, that we talked
Yeah.
about it. I think we talked about it. People are saying that oh, thank the Lord, that Liverpool's finally putting some attention to the domestic cups and everything. And it's not that they're just putting attention; they have the depth and players now to
Yeah, but
actually
all their
put
players have
good
asthma
teams.
though.
Sorry, what did you say? What did he say? What did you say?
Tyribbs own
Yo,
it.
they got
Tyribbs
Shots
own it.
fired. What's
asthma.
going on?
Tyribbs own it. Say it again.
Yep, say it again.
Ugh.
Say it with your chest this
All
time.
your players got asthma. They can't play a full game.
No, but to the point, I think Liverpool has pretty close to the same depth as City. Because if you sit there and you like, all right, City can run out a lineup of Sterling, Gabriel Jesus, and Mahrez. Who's coming in behind them? Foden. Who am I missing off the top of my head? As a forward,
Grealish.
Grealish, yeah.
Grealish, and that's really it. I mean, you have Palmer, you have the younger kids, but I wouldn't say they're established, first team players. But then you sit there and you look at Liverpool, and Liverpool can rotate their front three with, not anymore, but they had Origi, and then you rotate it out with Luis Diaz, and then you have Jota, and then you look in the midfield. They have Keita, they have, Fabinho,
Mhm.
Henderson. They have depth.
Yeah, and I'll be
Even
the first to admit. I'll be the first to admit. Manchester City has a squad. Yes, they do. I'm not going to be dismissive to say the grind within the EPL is easier to manage because of it. Because I think, to Prince's point, if you really go player by player, that's when you actually see some of the missed players that are needed within the squad, especially now because the EPL is a grind. In addition to all the cups that the teams are playing in, and then it's a matter of I think we lost DC for a second, but then it's a matter of bodies being healthy late in the season, which Manchester City definitely suffered of. From a defensive standpoint, players in the defense were falling.
Even
Um,
Everton had the
Well, I know
same
Ruben
issue.
Diaz got injured,
Yeah.
but who else got injured for City?
So Stones got injured, Walker got injured, Ake had a spell where he couldn't play, and this was all around where a
Same
game is happening every 3 days, right? You had FA Cup, you had Champions League, you had EPL, so it was around that time frame.
Nope.
Actually, DC, do you have headphones?
Yeah, I'm putting them in right now.
Okay, respect.
That's
The
why.
point I would make is out of all the top 6 teams, I would go on to say genuinely, I feel like Tottenham is the only one that feels like a shallow squad. Even Arsenal can rotate out. They have Saka, Martinelli, and you have Lacazette, right? And then you have now they actually put some faith in Nketiah. You can put Odegaard out on the right, like.
Mhm.
They don't have the same level of depth, but to say that they don't have depth is like
Yeah.
Well, that's what I think
not
I was
true.
pointing more to, the level of depth. Like, I think the quality that Man City has on their bench is unmatched in the Prem.
I mean, Man, you tried to do it. It's just that everyone they buy gets overpaid and sits on their behind.
Well, they don't gel as a team. They
I'm not
just
saying
don't
you're
gel.
wrong.
Well, no, it's also a fact that they buy players that genuinely it looks as if they don't get it initially, once they get that pay raise, that nice check that Man U's going to give them after a year and a half of playing well, it's like they fall off. They fall off the face of the face of the earth.
Yeah.
Paul Pogba, excuse me.
Pogba. I mean, even look at Bruno Fernandes. But Bruno Fernandes is a product of like the team he's around because he's not an individual star like player, obviously because he plays a cam. But
Yeah.
man, did he do anything this year? Remember this guy we were
Yeah.
praising as a potential player of the year at the beginning of the year.
Bruno's a condiment if you want to think of
Yes.
being at the dinner
Yeah.
table, right?
He's not a De Bruyne.
No.
he's not the main.
Well,
He's not
actually,
the
Not the
main.
main. Barely a side.
Bruno did have some actually pretty good stats this year that went very underappreciated. Like I
Who?
think I'm pretty sure.
Who did?
Bruno.
Oh.
He had some
Like,
very
I'm
good
pretty
stats
sure-
that went under the radar.
I'm pretty sure he still has the most assists this Champions League season.
Oh my!
And when you take into account how early Man you got eliminated, that's pretty impressive.
Okay, all right. I think we're definitely gonna have a menu topic show at some point, but we're gonna put that to rest right now. So I mean, we talked about the prestige of the Champions League, no doubt about it. We get it, right? The which is more difficult. I think we're all in agreement that the EPL is more difficult. What I want to point out here is there's a huge randomness to the Champions League, and actually, let me do this before I move forward. There's a huge randomness to the Champions League because, again, there is a group stage draw, right? Based off of obviously how you finish and what league you're coming from, then you're placed into the group. In the group stage, you're playing against 3 other opponents, and you're doing your best to win home and away or have the best overall record amongst those teams home and away. And then coming out of there, because it is a tournament format, you then cannot play any of those teams in the group stage, and in a knockout stage, and you also can't play against any team from your conference in the knockout stage, which I think has changed over the years. I'd have to, do my homework to know whether that's been the case from the very inception of Champions League. But there is that case in an effort to, I guess, have some variety, not have replicate matches that would happen in your domestic league. But we can all obviously agree there's no avoidance in the EPL. The top teams of the league, the worst teams in the league, you're facing everybody. In the Champions League, if you happen to have a team like Chelsea or a team like Liverpool at its heights, we want to think of Arsenal, we want to think of Manchester United, you're going to have teams that are obviously very, very strong. You can't avoid them in the EPL. However, based off of the structure, you would avoid them in Champions League. You'd avoid them in the group stage. You'd avoid them, I think, in the first round of the knockout stage. And then based off of how the bracket plays out, you're more likely to face them in the semis, as well as obviously you're going to meet them in the finals if that's where it goes. So there's the variables, right? And I think that's why it's tricky. The Champions League is tricky, and there's no, to some point there's no real science to it because there is that randomness, and maybe because of that randomness, it is difficult, right? It's not something you can plan for. You have to react to and adjust to. When it's all said and done, and I'm going to ask you guys, if you had to choose this season, past seasons, future seasons, if there's a title that you can only have one of, for the next 10 years, which title would you want? Champions League winner or your domestic league winner? And in this case, it's the EPL, because we're all fans of the teams within the EPL. Would you want a EPL title or a Champions League title for the next 10 years? I'm gonna throw this to You know what? I'm gonna throw this to you, DC.
Ooh, that's a big one. For the next 10 years.
Let's exclude this year. Let's exclude this year. I won't
Yeah.
make you talk about this year, but yeah.
No. I don't like talking about this year. For the next 10 years. Ooh, that's a hard one to think about. I mean, we can't. We're not getting into a money situation here, are we either? Because again, I mean, I believe
if you want to look at it from a money standpoint, you can bring that up. The reason why I chose 10, here's the diabolical thinking here. I chose 10 because clearly, if you were to choose EPL, you'd have the most EPLs in the history of the EPL.
Yeah.
If you were to choose Champions League, as you being Liverpool, you would have the most Champions League titles in the history of Champions League, because I think Real Madrid has 13 and Liverpool has 6. So that's why I chose that number. So
I think my first instinct is to say EPL. That's my first instinct.
And why?
And really, I think we've said it a couple of times before, and we've been continually saying it all program long, which is truly from, we got 20 teams in the EPL, from 1 to, like, as you said, except for like, Norwich and Watford. Each team on any given day can either tie or beat you. So we have quality teams, pretty much probably the top teams in the world playing in the EPL. So to win that 10 times shows something about your overall ability, given the fact that we've also said just winning it once is the most difficult thing to do. Right? We've all said that EPL is more difficult than the Champions League. So if you can do that 10 times in a row, I mean, that might solidify you, or it might even erase the fact that you didn't win the Champions League for the last 10 years, right?
Mm-hmm.
You could give it to anybody else, but that might even put you above teams like a Real Madrid. I mean, or even a Barcelona, or these teams were great. They've won Champions League forever, but who's talking about Barcelona now? Even though they won their league, they're not the levels right now as Man City, Liverpool, as far as just conversation in the ether,
right?
Like everybody else, right? And that's partially because of what Man City. I'll give it to you, Mr. Vader. Like, they're a top team because they've won the EPL the last couple of years.
Mm-hmm.
4
and 5.
Yeah, okay. Something like that. Something like 1 or 2 or something like that. I don't know.
Put away the receipts.
What's that?
Wait, what'd you say?
So put away the receipts. You don't need to bring it up.
But yeah, I mean, it puts guys like Pep. Pep, does he have a Champions League?
He has 2 with Barca, none with Manchester City.
None with Manchester. He's trying to get it, but
Bayern.
is he a horrible coach? Is he a bad coach? He's winning EPL, and people still put him up. He's like the number 1 guy. I don't know. I just straight up, I'll just say I want the EPL 10 years. Yeah, okay. I'm gonna stick on that. I'm gonna
throw this. Tyribbs. I'm throwing it at you. Catch this. Same 10-year span. You have 10 years. You can choose to be the sole winner of the EPL or the sole winner of the Champions League. Which one are you choosing?
At this point, he'll take 10 years of the Painters Trophy.
Prince, you need to stop that, man.
I forgot what it's like to win a trophy.
Man's kids will never see Man U win a trophy.
I have to look at Tottenham's trophy case to make myself feel better.
Woo!
I mean, to be honest, I would feel like winning the Champions League would be better because we would probably come in 5th in the league still with Champions League over 10 years.
Oh yeah, right. If you're winning the Champions League, 10 years in a row, that doesn't mean you finish in the top 4 at minimum each year. So I guess on a domestic
Oh my god!
standpoint, that just
If you if you win the Champions League, you're automatically invited back, so you don't
oh
have to
yeah,
worry about your
Oh
finish.
yeah, that's
yeah,
right.
yeah.
Yeah. So you could
Exactly.
have
So
finished
if you're
last.
telling me that you're telling me if I win Champions League 10 times, didn't qualify for it once,
So
it's up
okay,
fourth.
that's a great
That's
point.
a
That's a great
possibility.
point.
Yeah.
That's great. So Tyribbs, would you and let's make it realistic. Ten Hag, your new manager, the savior coming to Man U, the man that's going to bring you back to glory.
Haven't heard that one before.
If
It's a long trip to glory.
if Ten Hag, and 10 is in his name, if Ten Hag is able to win 10 titles, you're going to choose the Champions League and let's say in all reality, you're going to finish fourth, fifth, maybe even worse in your domestic league. You take that?
Relegated.
Or you don't have the
Question.
great finishes in the Champions League. You come out of the group stage, maybe you're out in the quarters, maybe you're out in the semis, maybe you make it to the finals and you lose. But for 10 years, you're winning your domestic league. Ten Hag has a chance of winning 10. Which
I
one are you
mean,
choosing?
I think I'd have to take the Prem 10 years, but honestly, like, I would be pretty annoyed with the fact that we never won Champions League within those 10 years. Like, I would easily sacrifice at least probably 4 or 5 of those Prem titles for one Champions League title.
Okay, all right.
Oh,
You're fast. This man's skipping ahead. Classic Tyribbs. He's skipping
yeah.
ahead. So
Yeah,
one of
Equations.
the
it's a tough question. It's
Yeah, he's
very
trying
hard
to.
to, like,
no, that's why I asked it. I got to ask the tough questions. All right. So let's
like, it's hard because, like, if you dominate a league for 10 years, like, you're like, okay, if you dominate your league for 10 years, you want to eventually dominate Europe, or else you're just kind of just like going in a circle type
I
thing.
mean,
okay.
PSG.
Okay.
Exactly. Like, then you become PSG. PSG is, no one respects PSG, to be honest.
Well,
Ooh.
PSG
Ooh.
PSG
No one respects PSG. Wow.
2 years ago, PSG was in a Champions League final against Bayern, right?
Like
Yeah.
15 years ago, Man U was in the final too.
So
Whew.
is there that no, but you bring up a very great point. And Prince is on fire tonight. Because
It's unnecessary.
Tyribbs, you say there's no respect for PSG because they don't have the Champions League glory. Manchester United has had Champions League glory, but do they have the respect now?
Well, no, I mean the fact that PSG doesn't get the respect for just winning their league. Like, just winning the league is nothing impressive. Like, it's almost up there as with Bayern.
Yeah,
Like,
but
it's
how important is recency though? Like, because again, I just said they like 2 years ago they were in a Champions League final. They didn't win it, but they were in the final. And for many years now, Manchester United can maybe place their hat on finishing second in the league last year and making it to the Europa final last year. Like, is the respect level for both clubs maybe even now? Like, would one look at PSG and be like,
I
PSG?
res- I
Would one look
respect.
at Man U? Go ahead.
No,
Sorry.
I respect PSG significantly more than Man U, because
yeah, let's say
Man U
Manu's back
hangs,
right over the gutter.
Man U holds their hat on previous achievements, and that would be like me as an Everton fan being like, well, yeah, we have the top scorer in the English top flight. Man, hasn't played since like 1950, and Everton has 9 titles. Okay, well, recency here we are, and we celebrated finishing, 17th. And I think like I don't know, Man U. I'm starting to believe every year that goes by, Man U fans are a little deluded, and saying,
Oh,
Ooh,
yeah, incredibly deluded.
a
well,
little.
PSG is this massive club who buys these massive players who they don't end up doing anything. The thing is, they at least make it to the Champions League, and they're respected within the Champions League as, if PSG is playing Real, I'm gonna watch that game. That's gonna be a good game. If
Mhm.
if Real's playing Man U, I could care less. I
Yeah.
genuinely could care less.
I agree.
Okay, I hear the recency. And viewers, thanks for tuning in. If you're new, hit that follow button, subscribe. Twitch is live, YouTube's live. Building the channel one friend at a time. Again, you got feedback for me or the panel, please put those in the comments. I read and respond to each and every one of them. These guys know their football, and because of it, I'm having a difficult time staying on topic because there's different avenues to go at. But I'm going to say this: there's definitely a Manchester United, PSG, state of world football conversation that we need to have. Obviously, what happened recently with Mbappe and the money that was being shelled out to get his services from Real Madrid and what was thrown out to retain the services from PSG, the numbers are crazy. We're gonna have to talk about that at another time. But Tyribbs, you brought up the point about you would trade one EPL or
Five.
you'd trade five for one, right?
Yeah.
I want, and again, with regards to the numbers, viewers, I always say this: do your own research. Don't take my word. Don't take my word as gospel. If you want, you can also prove it to yourself. But would you happen to believe? And actually, let me take this off screen. Viewers, would you believe it if I told you that winning the EPL, the grind, the battle, the 38 games, winning the EPL actually pays out more for the winner of the EPL than it does for the winner of the Champions League? Would any of you be surprised to learn that the merit bonus for winning the English Premier League is more, substantially more than the Champions League? Anyone?
Oh,
No,
um,
thought it
so
was rhetorical.
Yeah.
It can
So,
be. If it's knowledge that you all know of, then yeah, it's definitely rhetorical. But
I
go ahead,
just
Brett.
think there's more money in the Prem, because I don't know if you know that have you ever heard of parachute payments? Clubs that go down still get paid
Yep.
by the
Mhm,
Prem,
mhm.
and so it's like when I found out about that, I was like, that's wild. But then it all makes sense as to why clubs, when they go down, they bounce back up because they have, exponentially more resources than the clubs in the championship, at least for those first 2 to 3 years. Um, but I just think, I mean, there's less teams in the champ. I don't know. I think
Mm.
if there's less teams in the Champions League, well, no, more teams, right? More teams, but they get
Um,
smaller payouts.
Well, in the
no, so oh, you mean in terms of like group stage, like
Yeah,
starting from the
yeah,
group stage?
yeah, yeah,
No, because there's 20 teams in the league.
yeah,
Doesn't it? Isn't it 36 teams in the Champions League?
yeah. So there's more teams in the Champions League. I don't
yes,
know.
Hmm.
I just think the pot is bigger for the Prem because more people care about the Prem. But
So
uh,
more people care about the Prem, right? If and again, there's a lot. Ty Ribbs knows this. There's a lot of American owners that are now acquiring leagues in the teams in the EPL. It's a
yeah,
business. There's a profit plan, right? You've
nope,
got
not at
hedge.
Everton.
You got not at Everton. You've got owners that are looking to make a profit off of this, and if their bean counters are saying, "Hey, we put more effort here. Here's the larger payout," they're gonna place their bets, hedge their chances. We can understand why clubs are emphasizing the EPL. We can understand why there's a emphasis to be successful in the EPL. I'm going to go and do my homework, viewers, and see whether not only does the winner of the league get a better payout than the winner of the Champions League, but I will also look to see whether second, third, and fourth in the EPL have a better payout, which I do believe. I do believe if you finish top four in the EPL, your payout is actually higher than winning the Champions League. But I'm gonna do my homework on that. When you understand that, again, we can see why there would be more of an importance for the Champions League from a business standpoint. I understand that there's a lot of eyeballs, and I understand how the marketing has labeled the Champions League as the more prestigious because it's obviously more inclusive with regards to all the different leagues within Europe. It's not purely focused on one domestic league, in this case the English Premier League. So I get that there's more involvement, there's more of an inclusion, but at the end of the day, paying the bills, got to get the kids shoes. The EPL is where it's at. The EPL is the emphasis. Is the EPL again? Here's another example. Here's another thing in front of us that's saying the EPL is more important. More important doesn't necessarily mean more difficult. However, we know the importance. We know the effect of greed, right? We know the effect of everybody wanting to get the larger payout and the competition that brings. So I'm gonna leave that with you, viewers. Hit me up in the comments, knowing how big of a payout you get for the EPL. Wouldn't that lead to more competition? Wouldn't that lead to more difficulty amongst who's all going after that title? But I'm gonna leave that with you. Okay, Tyribbs, you said you trade in four EPLs for a Champions League.
Yeah.
Do you need one Champions League, or do you need many to put the doubters away, have some of the criticizing rival banter put aside? If you're a dominant team in your domestic league, how many Champions Leagues do you need to shut everybody up?
I think City needs 2.
Whoa, whoa, whoa,
In
whoa,
the
whoa, whoa, whoa,
in
whoa!
the
Why you gotta say
in the
City?
I
Why you
know.
gotta be? Why you gotta
City,
be specific and
City
say
needs
City?
2.
Why are you
City
doing that? Why are you doing that?
City
I
needs
said
2 the same way Liverpool needs to win 2 Prems.
okay, okay. City needs 2 Champions Leagues
Because the same
to
way
quiet
Liverpool's
rivals. To quiet
yes,
rivals.
in the same way Liverpool got like
Okay.
made fun of for not winning the Prem in 30 years. The
Yeah.
fact they won it once is like okay, but honestly, I think they need to do it again before it's like again 1 Prem title in 30 years. It's still like
Yeah.
So
you know what I mean?
so you're saying Liverpool need to win a second EPL because the first one isn't enough.
Yeah, I think if you want to become a dominant side or like a dynasty of sorts and for like
Yeah.
soccer, like I think you need to have consistent dominance. And City has proven that they could do that in England, but I feel like eventually they need to at least do it a few times in
But
all of
hold
Europe.
on, hold on. Let's let's argue from both sides here. If you're in camp, Champions League is more important, right? If you're in that camp, why do you need to win an EPL? If the Champions League is more important, if it's more difficult, if it's more prestigious, if you're in that camp, why do you need to win an EPL?
I don't think City needs to win another EPL. I think they proved that they can dominate. They've literally dominated England for
No,
how many
no.
years
Here,
now? Like,
Tyribbs, I have to push back because you keep personalizing this with regards to specific teams. Take City out of it. Take Liverpool out of it. Take Manchester United out of it. Take Everton
mhm.
out of it. Let's talk EPL team. If there's an EPL team winning more than one Champions League, why do they need to win the EPL?
Uh,
If you don't want to answer that now, if an EPL team is winning many EPL teams, if your camp EPL is tougher, more difficult, that's where your bread's buttered. If you're winning those often, same question to that camp. Why do you then need to win a Champions League?
I
Gotta
feel like
be.
it's I think it's to
Go
prove
ahead.
that you aren't just gonna do well in that one competition.
Yeah.
Like you need to prove that you're not just beating on English teams because you're beating English teams. Like it's a test of challenge to beat Real Madrid or Juventus or Bayern. Like that's where you kind of put yourself into the greatest teams of all time. Like
Yeah.
to play against the better teams of the world or Europe as opposed to the better teams in your country who are constantly shifting up and down between form. Like Arsenal has been terrible last few years and they've been going up this year, but we don't know if they're going to become good. Chelsea was also very bad a couple years ago, and they had to return to form. Like winning the Prem over those teams is impressive, but their form is constantly fluctuating. Winning it against teams like Bayern, Real, Barca, who do fluctuate a little bit, but overall are top teams in Europe, is also where you prove that you're just as good as any team in Europe.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay.
It's a solidification. You solidify your greatness, right? You've shown that you can win domestic. You've shown that in your league, you're one of the best teams. But if you can't take that out and beat everybody else, you got to show it at least once. You got to show it at least one time that you can win that Champions League to really solidify, not necessarily put you on the map, but to solidify you as a great team.
Okay. So in context for the present team, the present squad of players, right? If you want to look at the spine of the team, for those group of players to be considered one of the best of their quote unquote era, right? Or I guess spell, right? Because team players aren't expected to be at a club for 5, 7+ years, but if they happen to be at a club and they're on a run, for them to be considered one of the best at that time, they need to, if I'm hearing correctly, they need to win an EPL and as well as a Champions League, especially if they've won several EPLs. If a group of players have won a couple domestic leagues, they need to go on and win one Champions League.
Yeah, because
Yes,
I don't think the inverse of that is really possible. Like, I don't think we've ever seen or ever will see a team that wins 3 or 4 Champions League and they don't win the league. Like,
No, I wouldn't say several, but we would see teams win a Champions League and not show the best of form domestically.
yeah,
We've
that's
seen that
understandable.
many
That's
times.
understandable in a single season, but I just don't think that's like plausible over many seasons.
Right,
I
right.
think they're eventually bound to win a league, but the inverse of that is not necessarily true, as we've seen with City. If you dominate the league, it doesn't guarantee the European success.
But Tyribbs, here's where I got to push back, and if you look very closely, you will see some grays in the beard. I'm older. I've been around, and no disrespect to DC, the Liverpool fan, but DC's club has had European success over several years and did have the gap that you're talking about. They did have that gap domestically of not winning the title. So it is possible for European success and not having the domestic success. And I hear your point in terms of, okay, you wouldn't classify that group of players, that team, as one of the greatest or one of the best. However, from a club standpoint, it is possible to have that type of run.
Well,
You hear what
how long ago was their previous European trophies, other than obviously the one they just won last year?
I think it was 2005 or 6,
2005, I think.
somewhere around there.
And before and just after that, yeah, they won it. What, 2018?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's a considerable gap, right? That's 13 years between Champions League, and obviously they're doing their thing domestically, but not winning it. Here's what I'm trying to understand, right? Because Liverpool, they have their Champions League trophies over a course of years. As of recently, 2 years ago, they did win their domestic league, right? So they're able to put the haters to bed because they won their domestic league. Although you will have haters say that was a COVID one, asterisk, da da da. Right?
Boo.
Yeah. We'll talk about that on another show. But you have that, and then prior to that, over a course of years, they won Champions League. I'm trying to understand, because they have the Champions League, they recently 2 years ago had the EPL. why is there still such an emphasis to win another EPL? Right? I'm just posing the question. Maybe we don't answer it tonight, but it's interesting that, again, if they satisfied their fans with an EPL just as recent as 2 years ago, you'd almost think the way everything's been talked about, everything is kind of lined up, and everything's branded and messaged, the Champions League is the prestigious one. You'd think that everything would be laser focused onto that. However, I think everyone, media, rival fans, as well as your own fan base, my fan base, they're talking out of both sides of their mouth, because you recently won the EPL, Liverpool, and your manager went after 2 domestic cups that he's in the past squad wise has kind of dismissed based off of squad depth or whatever. Again, why make that a focus if you can manage your squad depth, play the youth for these domestic trophies that, quote unquote, weren't a priority, and just target the Champions League? It's just interesting on how things play out. I think everyone comes up with their own excuses, own alibis, own reasons for why things happen. But at the end of the day, everybody wants to win everything. There's excuses that come up to why they didn't win everything. But if you had your choice, if you were able to manage the bodies, you'd want to win everything that's put in front of you. Regardless of your squad depth, you're going to play the youth and take your chances, or you're going to play your starters and maybe sacrifice a couple games in the domestic league, possibly. But that's been the choices of some managers, and I think that is where everything really lies. Everybody wants to win everything all the time. The fact that the Champions League concludes after the domestic league is another reason why clubs like Manchester City haven't reached that glory, because not only with Pep as the manager, but the previous managers, they wanted to establish that domestic dominance first. So you prioritize that first, and then you're drawing on maybe remaining energy, remaining bodies to give that continued push in the semifinals, in the finals, which Manchester City was able to reach just last year. But I think if we're all being honest, and I know I'm going on a little bit of a rant, we all want the domestic league first. And when that falls through, whether it's based off of standings, mathematically out of the mix, if there's still that possibility to go on the run, that's when the Champions League is prioritized. I could be wrong. Am I talking crazy?
No, I don't think you're that far off. I mean, hear me out. I might be talking out of the side of my mouth right now, but I mean, even let's say you go back to, well, let's English Premier League, or more specifically, the Championship soccer. That started how long ago? What's that? 1888 or something like that? How, you know? I think it started.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like that long ago. It turned to, I think, 92 became the English Premier League. That's just a name change. Whereas the Champions League, it was a new thing in 1955. Mm-hmm. So the history of soccer is in your league. That's where it is. That's where the history. That's where I don't want to say the fan base doesn't enjoy Champions League. That's an extra. That's a bonus. But the heart, or at least I believe, a lot of Liverpool fans is in your league. We need to be the best here at home. We need to show that we are the best team. You know, if we can win Champions League, that is fantastic. I'm going to celebrate it till, you know, the end of the day. Mm-hmm. But we win our league. There's just something a little bit more. I don't know. And I'm not sure if I have the words for it right now. There's just something more to that you beat your rival. You beat Everton. You beat Everton. Yeah. You beat all the guys right around you, and you are the best in your home. There's just something, I think, to that you want to have
Yeah.
more. And for Liverpool, it's been 30 years. So yeah, we get one. No, we need more. We need to show that we are Liverpool. We are the best team in England,
I
not
hear
in the
that.
world, in England. So I don't know.
So Prince, there's often the running narrative or running perspective with regards to winning the Champions League and then touting yourself as European champions. And just hearing what DC said in terms of the emphasis to want to be the best at home. Can you brag about being the best in Europe if you're not the best in your home country?
Good question.
That's like, I can put it in another, maybe a little bit of a different.
Yeah, absolutely.
perspective. That's like saying whoever wins the Confederation Cup is better than the person who wins the World Cup. Think about it. To bring it into a different light, like you're saying that maybe a South American Cup is more important than a World Cup. I get it. I always say that the prestige of winning the Champions League is better than the Prem.
Mhm. Mhm.
But I just feel like
I've never thought about it like that, but that's actually a really good point.
I mean,
Yeah.
think about it. I mean, the
Mhm.
reason the Champions League is a Champions League is because you're playing the best of the best.
Exactly.
And the best part about the Champions League is that the best of the best constantly changes.
Mhm.
Right? I mean, even in the Prem, there's what, 4 teams that make it, and you should say 6, and from time to time 7 teams should be able, quality wise, to make it to the Champions League. I don't know.
So wait, I just get a clarification for me. So yeah, you're saying the Champions League is the best of the best, but we're saying that there's so many teams in the EP that don't make it that could have been there and are possibly better than other teams in the Champions League, but there's only 4 spots from the English Premier League.
And so this is this is where, like, it's tough to gauge. I view it as, I don't even remember what the original question was, but I view it as like,
You want me to repeat it?
yeah,
Okay.
sure.
Yeah, just keep
All
going,
right.
keep going.
Yeah. So
I don't know. Yeah.
just in terms of perspective, viewers, Prince is going to give his point of view with regards to, can one brag about being the best in Europe, having won the Champions League, even though they did not win their domestic league?
Oh. I don't know. I just think, like, I mean, I wouldn't go as far in being like, if that was the scenario, I wouldn't be like, we're the, but that's the whole purpose of the Champions League.
Well,
I don't
what did
know.
Chelsea do after they won Champions League? I feel like they weren't bragging about being the best.
Chelsea
in
fans
Europe.
were obnoxious. Yes, they were saying we're the champions of Europe.
Well,
I-
there's being the
100%.
I don't
champions
know.
and being best in Europe.
I don't know. Like, that's like the year that what was it, when Mbappe was there and Monaco made it to the semis of the Champions League. Imagine if Monaco had sat there and won or did Monaco win the Ligue 1 that year?
No.
I think
No.
they did.
Oh, I don't.
No, the only
No.
time any other team has won the Ligue 1 other than PSG in recent years is
No,
Lille.
Monaco won it one year.
When did Monaco win the league? I'm gonna Google that shit.
I don't think they won it
Yeah,
that year.
that's.
I could be wrong. I'm gonna do a keep talking. I'm gonna look that up.
But like, imagine like Monaco wins Champions League that year. PSG wins the league. I mean, who gets the bragging rights? Monaco, because they did it with let's see, a lesser team. I don't. That's a tough point. That's genuinely a tough point. Monaco did win it in 2016, 2017. By the way.
Okay.
Oh, they did. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, they did. But I don't know. To your point, I see where your point is, and I think I'm more inclined to lean that way. But I just think if someone wins anything, they're going to be obnoxious about it. Look at that. Everton wins not getting relegated, and were we obnoxious about it? Hell yeah, we were obnoxious
Yeah, but
about it.
it's still very different, and I know the point. I'm only the point you're making. And actually, when you brought up, winning winning your geographical area versus winning the World Cup. That's actually an interesting perspective that I never thought about. Um, the thing that is also interesting that Tyribbs and DC mentioned was the caliber of talent maybe in one domestic league that's not able to compete because only the top four are taken. But you can imagine a team going far in Champions League but getting slapped up because we know that maybe matchups are bad. So a team could get slapped up by the 6th or 7th place team home and away domestically, and still doing well in Champions League. But that same team, 6th or 7th, would be able to battle in Champions League as well. They just happen to be in a very competitive and fierce domestic league.
I mean, it's just one last point. I think the year that Leicester wins the Prem, they go to Champions League, and I don't think they did well at all. I think they got knocked out in groups. So I think like being champions of England, I mean that year was a very weird year. There's no arguing that.
Yeah.
But being champions of England didn't mean anything there. Genuinely,
No, you're right. You're
didn't
right.
mean anything because they just got knocked out. And then, I don't think that
But
was just a rough period of time for English soccer, to be honest.
Yeah, but again, and that's why I also brought up a little earlier if it's continued domestic success, because not no disrespect to Leicester, but they were on fire and they took full advantage of everyone gelling. Mahrez doing his thing, Vardy going on a ridiculous goal scoring run,
and Wes Morgan.
Morgan.
They were wiling out, right? So I get that point.
Harry Maguire.
Oh, I knew you were going to bring him up. I knew you were going to bring him up.
Why would you
Why
even
would
bring
you
him
do
up,
that?
though? Why would you bring him up? Of all people.
You know what? Actually, Tyribbs, he might be good in the Ten Hag system.
I've contemplated that, and if that I don't know. I like the only way I see it happening is if we switch to a 5-back, and I don't think we work with a 5-back. So who knows?
Yeah, he's got his work to do, and that is definitely going to take us off on a full tangent if we start talking.
I'm waiting for the report card.
Yeah.
So, yeah, to your point, viewers, thanks for tuning in again. We're getting close to wrap up time. We talked about the Champions League. I'm going to give everyone an opportunity to talk about what they anticipate with regards to the game on Saturday. The only person that's going to be nerve-wracked, that might have difficulty sleeping or eating the night before, is going to be DC. So I'm going to have him talk last. What?
I'm an Everton fan. You think I'm going to sit there and have
Yeah,
to
but
do with Liverpool winning Champions League and not have to deal with the effects of that?
Okay. All right. So let me throw this to you, Tyribbs. Champions League. We talked about the importance of it. We know most prestigious cup tournament out there, right? And we will all agree we all want it. Whether we need it, whether we want it, we can have that debate. I will say this: everyone that's won it, Manchester United fans, Liverpool fans, Real Madrid fans, Chelsea fans, everyone that's won it has told me how great it is to win it. I just had a fantastic, never going to be forgotten EPL Sunday winning that title. I know the emotions, and even previous ones, I know what that felt to be EPL champions. Everyone's telling me the Champions League is at another level. And I pray that they're right. I have my doubts, unfortunately, but I really hope that they're right. Because when the day happens, I want to experience all of the things that they've told me it is all about, right? But let me throw this to you, Tyribbs. What are you expecting from a game standpoint? Do you think it's going to be an open-ended game? Do you think it's going to be kind of cagey? What do you expect in terms of a match, and who do you expect to win?
I don't. So I'm not even. I don't. I'm gonna say this. I don't even be disrespectful to Liverpool at all. But I think Real Madrid's gonna slap them. I think Real Madrid is gonna slap them like 2 or 3-0.
Wow.
Whoa.
I think when you take into account that Liverpool's both their trophies have come from 0-0 PKs, and the fact that the whole Mbappe issue with Real, I think a lot of the players have a chip on their shoulder to prove like that they're Real. They have the pedigree. Like they are the Champions League winners. Like they are basically the Champions League team. Like
Oh,
that
you're
they're the
going the
premier team. Like
emotional way. You're going
I
the
yeah, like I think they have something to prove to like that they are the best team still. Like I think they have that chip on their shoulder, and like I think Benzema already made a remark about it that, or it was Carvajal actually, who's like not even one of their main guys made a remark about it that he hopes like Salah's okay with losing Champions League again. Like they definitely have like that emotional like
okay. Okay.
motivation to like
Okay.
rip them apart, and like
Yeah,
when we see how
Crazy.
passive Liverpool
yeah.
are, like
Let
yeah,
me
Get
like
him.
it's
let me give DC a chance to
Get him.
respond to that, but don't give your expectation of the match or
Get him.
result. Just respond to what Tyribbs kind of envisions, DC.
Well, I think you know, looking at what you said as far, listen, Real is a very good team, and as far as slapping them, I see that being difficult. Only because Real Madrid's a really good team, but I mean, let's be honest. What they've done, what they did, the last two games or the last two rounds was, I mean, almost unheard of. Something that I don't want to say like,
You
I
can
don't want
say
to
it.
say it was,
You can
I don't
say
want
it.
to say
It's
it was
okay.
very lucky. I'm not going to say it's very lucky,
I'd
but
say
it
it.
was very
but
very lucky.
if any team's gonna do it, it's gonna be Real Madrid. Like Real Madrid is that team that shows up in Champions League.
But
Like obviously as Ronaldo like was, but like Real Madrid still has been like still won. They already won one Champions League without him. One or two. I think one.
with yeah,
Yeah, one.
I guess well, I guess let me go back to Liverpool. I think I just think you may have been mistaken when you think that Liverpool had 2-0-0 draws in league sorry in cup finals, and to think that they're oh that's nothing they're that doesn't bother them. I think that tremendously bothers a team when you leave it to the last minute two times and could have gone either way. That I think that enrages a team, and the next time they get into a chance or a point where they have that opportunity to win the game, do you think they're going to want to let it get to penalty shots again? Do you think they're going to want to be a close
Mm,
game? No, they're going to want to murder the next team they play in a final because they left it. Third time you can't do it a third time because they know the third time they're going to lose.
okay.
So they got to come
Okay.
Right,
out
but couldn't
there.
you say that? Couldn't you say that was their feelings after the first time, and
Sorry.
it happened the second time? But like, why weren't they feeling that after the first time? They're like, oh, we need to close out this team. Like, I don't want to go to PKs again to win the trophy. Boom, happens to the second time. Like, oh, won't happen for the third time. Boom, happens for the third time. Like, when does it stop? You know, like.
Well, I mean, yeah, similar to what Adrian you said before. I mean, Mr. Vader, what you said before, which was like, listen, this cup has come after everything. There's nothing left. We've played all our games. We have nothing, no other games to worry about, no other guys to keep healthy, and this is everything. We can throw everything we have into this game. Whereas previous games, as you said, we were trying to go for the quad, so we still had worries. We had issues. We had to think about next game, still league games, still cup games to come. We had many things on our mind. We have one focus. There is
Mm,
only one focus now, and I think Jurgen can get them up. And as you said, the first two games, yeah, we should have done it the first two games. But I'm watching the first two games. I actually believe that Liverpool. I mean, how many times did Luis? How many times did he hit the
yeah.
post or the
Yeah.
crossbar? I mean, this guy just came to the team how many weeks ago?
Yeah. Yeah.
He's a guy. If he puts that ball in the back of the net once, he's gonna put the ball in the back of the net 5 more times,
Yeah.
right?
That guy's gonna be a problem.
He's amazing.
Somebody's gonna snap his leg,
Whoa.
and it wouldn't surprise me if it's
There's
Pickford.
there's no Ramos on
Sergio,
Real Madrid.
yeah, Ramos is
Yeah.
gonna sweep the field and just rip him apart.
Ramos.
Doesn't mean Casemiro's not on the field.
Let me ask you this, Prince,
Yeah.
because obviously you don't want to see Liverpool raise
No,
the
they're gonna get
trophy.
smacked up. They're dog water.
Against okay.
Yep, my board-
Okay, let me hear your
Vamos.
let me hear why. Let me hear why.
Vamos. They have former Everton manager, great Carlo Ancelotti. What else do you want? What else do you need?
Former great Everton manager.
Yeah. Look.
He was not
goes,
great for you guys.
Listen. We spent more time.
Formerly great.
You know what's crazy? Well, I meant formerly great, but
Oh,
you
okay.
know what's crazy? Everton spent more time in first place. This is complete. I just found this out though. Everton spent more time in first place this year than Liverpool did.
So
Fun
did
fact.
Man U.
Fun fact. I don't know if you know that, but no,
That's
I think
crazy.
if you look at the matchups,
Are we
What,
talking about
week
the second?
one?
I was
We're talking
gonna
about
say week 1, week 2. Like, does that matter? Like, come on.
but we spend more time at the top. That's all that
That's
matters. And we
shameless.
spend more time at the top and
Shameless.
still avoid the
You
drop.
hated from the club. You
Oh
didn't even
my
get in.
god,
Come
I
on.
like your rhyme.
that's wild.
No, I just think look at the matchups, man. Like I would honestly go on and sit there and tell you that they're almost identical teams. Almost identical teams. So you have Vinicius who
Ooh.
takes the role of Salah. You have a more clinical striker in Benzema on the right side, whether it be Rodrigo or whoever plays on the right side for Real. And one thing to not to forget is I don't know if Hazard is healthy, but they have Hazard. And if there's ever a
Supposedly
time
he's
for him,
healthy.
if there's ever a time for him to show up,
To unlock
now
his
would be the
Chelsea
time.
memories.
Listen,
Literally.
I'll just quickly say, hey, listen, Benzema, listen, I really do enjoy him. I think he's really good. I will have to say though, if he didn't score those hat tricks, these last couple of games, I don't think we'd be talking about him as much as we have been, or thinking about him as great
Bro,
as
you
he is.
just jinxed yourself. He's gonna
No.
put
No,
five in
he's
the net
good.
now.
He's definitely good.
No,
One I'm
No,
fearing,
I
to
think
be very honest.
he's had a phenomenal year
He's
overall.
been good.
Apart from the Champions League, even in the league, he's had a phenomenal year. But I think look at it as if you're supposed to match up number by number, look at the midfield too. Valverde, Cruz, Modric, Casemiro matches up pretty well to Fabinho, Naby Keita, and
it'll be,
Henderson, and
it'll be
whoever.
Henderson the captain. Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
I think
when you start
overall it's
sticking
gonna be a good
Thiago
game.
in there, if he's playing a good game,
yeah.
Oh.
Thiago healthy is very
Thiago
important.
healthy and on point is fantastic. I actually do believe that Vinicius will be the crux of
That's
the team right
scary.
now because
That one,
because of the way
that's a scary
Liverpool
matchup.
plays a high line. That high
Mhm.
line with Vinicius and his speed down, and against he'll probably be. It's the same. That's Alexander Arnold, right? Who is not necessarily the
Left,
greatest
right.
defender.
No, and it's not even that. It's literally a counter. It's a counterattack high press team against a counterattack high press team.
No,
So it's
no.
what?
Liverpool's not a counterattack. They actually counter press. Like they press from losing the ball, similar to Manchester City.
Sorry.
No
Oh,
worries.
well, I'm not saying that they fall. I'm not saying they pull Sam Allardyce level of.
Oh, okay. Fair.
But the thing is, what they're looking for is key passes, key interceptions to then break off of that, whether it be high up the field in their own end. That's what they're looking for. They're not
Mhm.
looking to, all right, let's win back the ball, establish possession, establish control of the game again, and then we go.
Yeah. Before I throw this to DC for him to maybe, I don't, again, if he believes in jinxing, then I won't have him go into too much detail. But I would have loved to see two healthy squads going up against each other because it would have been great to see the matchup. For example, Fabinho being healthy, Thiago being healthy, seeing that type of battle that's going to happen in the midfield against Real Madrid. I also am very interested to see the matchup between Van Dijk and Benzema. I want to see that. I want to see Vinicius matched up against Trent. That's going to be great to see. And Yeah, and just to see that battle, I'm curious to see to hear what DC thinks in terms of maybe how the match plays out. If there's anything that you don't want to say in the event of it coming back to bite you or jinxing, then I understand. Um, but how do you see the match being late game winners, or do you see it? Do you see the kind of intense play that Liverpool typically do? Um, Being the reason for a confident win, DC.
Well, first I want to apologize for my technical difficulties here, but
No problem. No problem.
you know what? I was just saying this before. I actually do see Liverpool coming out hard. I think they're going to try and score a goal within the first 6 minutes of play. They're going to do, if you want to say, pull a book from the Man City page and score a goal right away, just to feel comfortable. They're going to come at them with everything they have right off the bat. So I think they're going to be a lot of control. They're going to control it a little bit more. I understand the midfield, especially with Modric, who I think is a fantastic player. I just see that the pace and the skill of Liverpool is just might outdo them a little bit, and therefore possession will be a little bit more for Liverpool. And just I think our top three are just going to be ready to score. So one, I think that's going to happen. I think, as you said, as we said before, the Vinicius Alexander-Arnold is going to be a very, very interesting battle. I think that might be where it's won. I think the game might be won and lost right there, depending on which Alexander-Arnold shows up, because he has not been a defensive player, as we all know, but he's been very lackluster this year, especially the last couple of games, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
So that's going to be very interesting. I think the Benzema and Van Dijk might cancel out each other. I think they're a good cancellation. But again, going back to what you said, Vader, the injuries are just piled up on Liverpool, and that's another thing that I think is going to play a huge issue, or a huge role, in this game coming up. But I mean, we always forget about this, and I have to put it out there because he scored the goal, as you said, last year with the header. Our keeper, I mean, he's not just a guy in the net. I don't know how many breakaways he saved in the last 2 or 3 games.
I hate him because he's so good.
He's so good, and I don't think he gets enough credit, or maybe he does get enough credit, but I think
he gets enough.
He's going to be making some great saves in this game, and I think the chances are definitely going to fall more to Liverpool, and I think it's going to be sort of a Real Madrid is going to be a counter-attacking team through those two that we just mentioned. And then, you know what? Other than that, let's just see what happens.
Okay. All right. Before we officially sign off, I want to remind each and every one of you that's tuned in, watching it live, watching it post broadcast. Feel free to hit me up with a comment. Individually, I hit up Tyribbs, Prince, DC, Tyribbs and Prince. I hit them up on Twitter. If there's anything that you future viewers want to discuss or plan for future shows, please let me know. I'll get the information to them. I'll do the same with DC. Hopefully they all return for future shows. The season's coming to an end. Champions League's happening on Saturday. EPL just happened this last Sunday. But there's still content to be made. There's still conversations to be made. I didn't even talk about the Holland and Alvarez addition to Manchester City. So I am going to be talking for a long time with regards to how the team may be matched up moving forward. And obviously them individually have players coming in or players going out that we can also look to discuss. There's the Mbappe re-signing at PSG. That's a conversation that needs to have, because it looks like money's not a problem for many of these clubs, Real Madrid included. Don't be fooled. Real Madrid was ready to break Mbappe off. And we're going to have to talk about the transfer rumors, because there's going to be a lot. Now, let me put this on screen for you guys, because I sign off every show. Fan requested, I got to deliver with the shoe cam. I got to put the shoe cam out there for you. Viewers are trying to catch me wearing the same shoe twice in an episode. Good luck with that. I'm going to do my best to prolong that as long as possible. This week, I did 2 shows. So you saw if you tuned into my previous show, Home and Away with Rob, the Mancunian way. Rob's the home fan. I'm the away fan. We talked Manchester City. We talked all about EPL Final Sunday. If you missed it, go check it out. Great combo. And check out those shoes. Tonight, however, I'll say this, and I've said this before. I try to minimize the amount of red that actually ends up being in my shoe. I'm a Manchester City fan. I don't want to rock no red. You know how it is. But there's a little bit of it in these shoes, and it's acceptable, right? It's acceptable. So check these out. Let me know in the comments if you happen to know what these are. DC, Tyribbs, Prince. Do not guess out loud what these shoes are. That is for the viewers to do. No spoilers. But here we go. All right, viewers, take a look at these. Summertime. Happen to see what these are. Nice and clean. Nice and clean, nice and crispy. Let me know in the comments if you happen to know what shoes those are. Again, summertime's nice, weather's nice and clean, so I'll be rocking those. No chance of rain. But hit me up in the comments if you happen to know what those are. Before we sign off, Tyribbs, how and where will you be watching Champions League?
I'll probably just be watching it at home. I'm just gonna. I don't have any plans. I'm not even working that day. Just gonna sit down and enjoy, and hopefully enjoy a nice Real Madrid win.
Wow, Prince. Same question.
Honestly, I just want Real to win. And I don't know.
Look at all these guys.
I'm an Everton fan. What do you want me to say? If it's the other way around, what are you gonna say?
Yeah, same thing. Yeah.
Will you be watching?
I genuinely don't think I will watch it.
Okay. Will you be on the ticker? Will you be on the app?
On the app to watch Everton news. I'm keeping up with the Everton rumors. It seems like they're doing some good business behind the scenes.
Okay. Before I throw this over to DC, I'll let you guys know I will be watching it. If it's not televised, which I think it should be, but if it's not, then obviously I'll be on my laptop. I'll be watching it after chilling out with the fam, but I'm most likely going to watch it on my own. I have a gut feeling that Liverpool's winning this thing. I happen to think that the 2 domestic titles is great, but because of this quadruple run and the fact that for the quad to be possible, it had to include the Champions League, I think that's why Liverpool is going to win this. They're going to be so motivated because that quad was talked about so much. Yeah, they fell short with the EPL, but it was always to conclude with a Champions League win. So I think the motivation of quote unquote salvaging the season, I think they're going to be very motivated to do that. I also think that the contract speculation that I actually just recently heard with regards to Mane as well is kind of looming, and I think those players are going to be so motivated to put on a show, and to dictate or prove that they deserve the contract increase and extensions that they want. So, yeah, something's telling me Liverpool's winning that match, and I will be watching it on my computer alone. Nice and chill. DC, how and where will you be watching Champions League?
Well, my weekend got a little bit messed up because I'm in a golf tournament this weekend. Yeah. I'm in a golf tournament up north Saturday, Sunday. and I've already let them know that I will be in the clubhouse for sure if it's televised. Listen, someone take my shot. I'll meet you guys on the 13th tee or whatever. I'll be watching that game. If not, I'll be streaming it live, using up all my data in the golf cart. Whichever way works best is going to be what's going to happen.
So the time of your tee, the time that you tee off conflicts with when the match would be played?
Tee time is 12 p.m.
Oh, damn.
Yeah. So I might not finish the last 6 holes, let's just say.
Yeah.
I might be in the clubhouse, as I said. You guys can finish. I'll do the next round tomorrow.
Yikes.
Yeah, I know. Not good, but I'll definitely be wearing my shirt and scarf all day long. And I'm a little sad, but Liverpool's still gonna win, so that'll cheer me up. That'll definitely cheer me up.
You might be okay, because if we think about it, because it being 12 o'clock out here, for us, actually, the game, Toronto time viewers, it kicks off at 3 o'clock.
Yeah.
So
golf's 4 hours, man.
Yeah.
I guess there's no practice swings. Just go for it.
Yeah.
If I can do that, maybe I can shorten the time.
I hear that, man. I hear that. Well, viewers, I hope you enjoyed the show. Why Always Me, episode 28, the panel show with Tyribbs, Prince, DC. Fantastic new addition. Getting the Liverpool perspective going into the Champions League. I couldn't have asked for anything better. Prince obviously had his shots. Everton fan. He was actually everyone was catching strays from Prince.
Yeah, let him go. It's okay.
Yeah,
it's all he's got. It's all he's got.
Exactly. But I actually hope to be able to do this again. If viewers, if you have interest in being on a panel show and this time zone doesn't kill you too much, let me know, and also let me know the team that you represent. I'm hoping to get these guys as well, and we're going to have the conversation. It'll be interesting if any of them, including DC, will want to return post Champions League match if it doesn't happen to go their way. But that's a conversation for another time. I want to thank everyone for tuning in. I'm Vader Games. On behalf of Prince, Tyribbs, and DC, thanks for tuning in to this latest episode, and we are out.